So, today there's mostly questions and answers. Yeah?
Back to basics.
Back to basics. Just wait one moment. We come back to the basics. I saw something that is really terrifying. I mean, we probably all know, about the drones that kill people all over the world. They developed a new drone that doesn't need any kind of input, that recognizes the faces and can kill on its own. Oh. Just get that into the wrong hands. At the moment they say, the killing could be done automatically, but the killing, at the moment still needs, some approval from a human being. And the interesting thing about these drones is, you can't see them anymore. Because at the bottom of the drone there's a screen that, projects for whatever is above it. So when you look at it, you see the sky, but actually it's a drone. That is really scary things. Just get them in the wrong hands of a dictator, and they will get into these hands. The weapon dealers, they just sell, they just want to make money. Okay, now let's go back to basics. Yeah.
So there was a question behind that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I jumping the gun? Did I start to really?
No, you can ask the question. Yeah.
Yes. When focusing on the breath, a lot of times I'll get a strong feeling in addition to the nose, like in the chest or in the forehead, or like I'll get a really, really strong tone. It's very peaceful in the ear, or sometimes I'll get like a symbol that's like kind of like a circle, kind of like breathing in and out, expanding and contracting. Is paying attention to those things in addition to the tip of the nose?
No,
these are totally
distractions.
Letting it go.
Just, you cannot in the beginning, you cannot get rid of them. Just notice them and go back to the breath.
Okay.
I mean, there will be all sorts of sensations that you will be aware of when you do the breathing meditation. Just don't pay any attention to it. Some things, just like tones and sensations will be overemphasized, seem to be overemphasized, and that is just because our concentration gets a little bit stronger and gets a little bit more concentrated, so that we feel it. It just seems to be more present, and that's all. So it's all delusion. So just go back to the breath there. And that is the thing, the kilesas like these things. Why is it now so strong? Why is it now, why do I feel it here? And so all the questions that we are not interested in. And we are interested in, is the breath strong? Is it subtle? Is it short? Is it long? Yeah? Is it deep or is it short? That's what we want to know. Not, that we can feel it here or there. Yeah? Over the course, you will feel it in the whole body. But, that's not yet. Yeah? First of all, you have to become a stable concentration before it really becomes more. Yeah? Before you become more aware of the whole breath body. The Lord Buddha talks a lot about the breath body. But in the beginning, we just take that part. Okay? And it's not easy. You have to find a lot of ways how to make that breath really interesting, so that you don't go to these outside feelings or to circles or to images. Everybody who starts with meditation has the same problem. There's this sensation suddenly, or that, or an itch, or this or that, or images. When I started, there were lots of images coming up. Yeah. But then I just listened to what my first teacher told me, don't pay any interest to these things, and then they went, never came back. And that's the same thing with these other things. They don't come back. But the moment we have a little bit interest, they constantly come and disturb us. Okay?
When I'm experiencing overwhelming pain or tiredness or boredom, is the idea to drop the focus on the breath and focus on those things? Or
you can. Overwhelming pain, overwhelming restlessness. If you cannot focus anymore on the breath, then go and focus on these things. And investigate. Then investigate. What is pain? I always ask the question, what? Never why. What is pain? What is restlessness? How does pain feel like? How does restlessness feel like? How does tiredness feel like? And you will see most of the things, except for pain, will instantly disappear the moment you focus on them.
When I do that, I get rationalized. The thoughts.
That's not what we do. We
observe.
How
do I ask a question without getting into the thought world?
That's a trick. That is something that we have to learn. That's why we, when we ask the question, what is pain? It's not a mental process, but we look and go to the point of pain. Yeah? Instead of staying with the tip of the nose, we go to the point of pain, or wherever we feel the restlessness, or wherever we feel the tiredness, and go to this point and ask, what is tiredness? Yeah? How does it feel? And then we take the sensation, except for pain, we take the sensation of the whole body, yeah, and stay with that. How does tiredness actually feel like? And then the moment you investigate, it disappears, because you're interested. And once you're interested, tiredness goes. Restlessness is more difficult. Yeah? Boredom is easy. Yeah? It's also a lack of concentration. Yeah? So the moment we start to concentrate on boredom, what is boredom? Yeah? Not asking the question to get answers, but asking the questions, to find out, to get to the sensation. The same thing with pain, but there the pain doesn't go away so easily. So we focus on the pain and then ask this question: what is pain? Is it constant? Is it moving? Where is it? Is it on the surface? Is it deep inside? Yeah? And then ask, if it is in the flesh or in the skin or in the muscles or in the bones. Yeah. And try, not trying to mentally. Yeah. Lots of people say, oh yeah, I'm sitting in an uncomfortable situation, so my muscles are not used to it, that's why there is pain. That's not the answer that we want. We want the answer, what actually is pain? Yeah? Is it really so, so terrible that I always have to run away from it? Or is it something that is very common? We constantly, experience some sort of pain. You're hungry, it's pain, yeah? You're tired, it is also a sort of pain, yeah? You're thirsty, it is pain, yeah? So and we always try to evade this truth, yeah? It is the truth of dukkha. Yeah? So let's see, what is pain? And then observe it, just like you observe the breath, observe the pain. Its movement, yeah? Is it circular, is it area-wise or is it point-wise? And then just observe it, just like you observe the breath. And that's why it is so important, that we can observe, the breath. Once we can observe the breath, we can observe any kind of emotion within the body. Because we can stick our concentration, and to just pinpoint it there. Yeah? Or it's nailed in there. Yeah? Our concentration nails there and then just stays there. And then ask the question. Skin you have since you're born. Why you're not always in pain. Yeah? Muscles you have since you're born. Bones. Yeah? So why is it there pain? And the interesting thing is, in the beginning it easily goes away. But when you do it, when you sit longer and later on, when you investigate pain, it doesn't go away. But once you're close to the truth, it moves from one point to the other. And then you see it is magic. Because that way you thought, you can't stand that pain anymore. It disappeared from one point, from one knee to the other. And then goes to the back, and then goes to the neck, or wherever it goes. Yeah? And that's where we're going to follow the pain until it shows us where it's actually coming from. And the same thing with other emotions. Yeah? So the pain is our sharpening, our whetstone, our sharpening stone, where we sharp our knife of investigation. Yeah? So it is very useful. Yeah? And you can be very glad, yeah, when it comes. Because then you can start sharpening your knife. We are not masochists. We want to understand what it is. Yeah?
So, what about asking what it represents? Don't.
No, because that leads to thinking. You should omit all the question that leads to a question that comes to an answer that comes through the mind. We have pain, the first pain that we experienced was when we were born. Huh? How can it not be painful to go through that? Both the mother and the child experience extreme pain. Yeah? And the last pain will be the pain of death. That's why we have to tackle what is pain. Yeah? And not being afraid of it and see it. It's a natural thing of our life, of having a human body. Or having an animal body. But there are two different kinds of pain. There's a bodily pain and there's a mental pain. And at the moment, we cannot separate out what is mental pain and what is physical pain. Because if that pain, that seems to be physical pain, can completely disappear, how can it be physical pain? But this is what we have to observe, what we have to see with our own eyes to understand it. Everybody can tell you that, but you still run away when there is pain. You get up. Yeah? Okay? I mean, listen to some talks where I talk about pain.
This is what you say.
Yeah, that's not what I say. Start on slowly, yeah? I mean, always, you can always give up when you think you can't stand it anymore. Yeah? Then retreat with a white flag and say, okay, yeah, I lost. But I'm going to do it again until I understand. I mean, you retreat for the moment, but you never give up. I mean, Lungta Mahaboa called it Sumai Toi. Yeah? We fight, but we don't retreat. It's just like, just like he said, you go in. The problem with us is, when we go and fight with a champion, with a boxing champion, we have no training at all. That's when we start meditation. We go in the ring with a champion, and of course he kicks us out instantly. Yeah? So Sumai Toi, fight but don't retreat means the moment we are kicked out and we regain our consciousness, we go back into the ring. That it's a meaning. Yeah? You're going to get kicked out. You're going to get kicked out, through samadhi, with your thoughts, with your memories, with your visions, and with these feelings, with these sensations. Yeah. But the moment we notice we are out, we go back into the room. Yeah? Until we understand how this champion boxes, or how this champion ticks. Yeah. And once we understand how he moves, then we can duck. Once we duck, we are not going to get hit, and we don't, get out of the circle. Yeah? And then slowly over time, we learn where his weaknesses are, and then we give him a blow, and then he's kicked out for a while, and that's where we first experience, what freedom means. When he's knocked out, when we have given him a blow, and we can give him blows. But first of all, we have to stand up, and get kicked out until we understand how he ticks, yeah? How he moves, how he blows us, yeah? Blows us out or knocks us out, yeah? And once we can duck, then we can study, where his weaknesses are. He's a real enemy. And we forget that. Yeah? Because we think it is us, isn't it, Linda? It's us, it's me, it's mine, it's myself. No. Just a very clever, just a very clever imposter, that tells us that he is us. And that's we who want this. And that is we who don't like it. And this is something that we have to learn in our practice. It's not us. That's what the Lord Buddha said. It's not me, it's not mine, it doesn't belong to me. The principle of anatta. And that can help. Yeah? So the first thing, when you have boredom, when you have tiredness, when you have pain, the first thing that you say, there is pain, there is boredom, there is, this restlessness. Yeah? So put it as an object that you can observe. Because if you say, I'm tired, finish. You're tired, gone. Lost the battle. When you say there's tiredness, there's an adversary. Huh? There's this enemy, I can fight, I can observe. Yeah? How he ticks, how he works. Yeah? The same thing with pain. It's not me, I'm not in pain, there is pain. Yeah? So what is pain? Yeah? That's the first thing, using the principle of anatta, to put it as an object that we can observe. And then over the time you realize, actually there is this entity within us, that can observe everything that is happening. And from yourself, whatever you can touch, whatever you can feel, whatever you can see, it cannot be you. We know that, since we are born. Yeah? But now we learn it on a very different level of consciousness. That the things, that are so close to us are also not. And that we cannot change him for the moment. When there is pain is coming, then there is pain, And at the moment, there's no way, how to change it. Except to investigate, to understand its movement, where it's coming from, and what came before. Yeah? What came before the tiredness? Something very interesting must have happened. So that the kilesas suddenly decide, to go into tiredness. The kilesas, they have one thing, they don't want to know. The moment we are close to the truth, they go another route. And the things that are not important, they all want to know. Why is this coming? Yeah? They produce something, and then they ask, they produce this pain, and they say, why is it? Why am I in pain? Or they bring up a memory and say, why did I get this memory? You realize that, or if you practice a little bit, you realize this. Yeah? They always ask this question, why? That's why we don't use that in our investigation. It's a question of the kilesa. Why does it happen to me? It just happened to me anyway, so that's a fact. Yeah? Okay? Well, understood? Yeah. Yeah? Yes?
Question.
You want to squeeze the lemon? Huh?
Yeah. My turn now. I just want you to give me a review. What I've been doing. See, before I met you, I was practicing breath meditation.
Yeah.
Aware of the breath.
Yeah.
But I never fixed on one point.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize the importance of one pointer, and I never do any investigation.
Yeah.
I just observe, and then I was able to calm myself and get some nice nimitta,
Yeah.
But I didn't understand. So when I met you, and then you were talking about Buddha and Anapanasati, but tip of the nose. You said fix at one point.
Yeah.
So at first I tried to do what you told me, but I was not comfortable, and I don't pay much attention. Still not going anywhere. Then finally I changed to fixing the breath at the tip of the nose.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for some time now, and I just want to tell you so that you can guide me now whether I should go for investigation or not. Because you told me that don't do investigation unless the samadhi is quite strong.
Yeah.
So I was trying your method, and then remember one time I always ask you how to jump into the pool.
How to what?
How to jump into the pool.
Oh, how to jump into. Okay.
That was my question to you see. And then after I'm here for a while, then I practice, then I begin to understand that when I'm doing the breath meditation, keeping my attention at the tip of the nose, then the breath becomes very subtle.
Yeah.
Then it comes to a point when the breath like normal.
Yeah.
I used to say, hey, why nothing happened? Then the breath comes back again. So my difficulty was I was stuck there.
Yeah.
Then one day, suddenly, in a dream, I dreamed that I was dying. Then I said, okay, let's die. Then I learned how to relax. See? So I used that experience to put in the meditation.
Yeah.
So when I reach the point when there is no breath, I just relax, and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then one day I did this. I realized that I could still continue to live without breathing. See? Everything was clear, and I just think, how come I'm still alive? I'm not breathing, and I began to know like some experience of knowing. Like that.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm knowing.
Yeah.
Just knowing. Then the time passed very quickly for some time, and I was doing.
But this is just upachara samadhi. It's not yet jumping into the pool.
It's not jumping in the pool yet.
Not yet.
I see. So
because the breath becomes so subtle that you're not anymore aware of the breath.
Yes.
Actually, what you should do is, get more interested in the breath. And then actually, instead of feeling the breath, you know the breath. And this knowing becomes so strong that when, before you jump into the pool, there is this knowing that's coming up. Now the breath stops.
Yeah, and the knowingness is there. I know the breath is.
No, you know that the breath is subtle, but the breath really stops. And then, if you jump into the pool, everything goes. You don't even know if you're alive.
So that would be what?
That will be
samadhi?
apana samadhi or deep samadhi.
So when...
And in that case, people can come and cut your body up and do whatever, and you will not be able to notice that.
Okay.
It's just like, you park your car somewhere, where there's some hoodlums,
Okay.
and you get out of the car, and when you come back, you notice that the car is trash.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So with the Upachara Samadhi, can I start investigation?
Yes.
Okay.
If it is strong enough, if you feel, these kind of experience, tell, that your concentration is strong enough, and when you feel refreshed after you come out of the samadhi, then you can go into investigation.
Yeah. But this Upachara Samadhi don't happen every time.
No? That's what you have to develop also. So the most of the focus will still be on samatha, on a calm meditation, and you take only 1 or 2 hours, to do investigation.
Yeah.
So the samatha investigation, the samatha meditation will help the investigation, and the investigation will foster, your samatha. Because also there, in investigation, you have to be focused on one point, be it the skin, or be it the hair, or be it, be it any body part. Okay?
So I was doing right, following your method, correct, right? Is it correct?
Yes, but you're not yet so aware of the breath. You still feel the breath, and then you think that the breath disappears. It has not yet separated. The knowing is going to the heart, and the concentration is on the top and the tip of the nose. You have not yet. So you still can go much deeper into your upachara samadhi, and it will go deeper the more often you practice it.
I see.
But of course, relaxing is always giving you the advantage of going very easily into upachara samadhi.
So how much energy or how much effort is required to move from this step of Upachara Samadhi into
Lots.
still a lot of work?
Some people can't even do it. It would, you do 4 hours a day, that is hardly, you can go into Upachara Samadhi maybe sometime. If you do 16 hours a day, then it becomes different. Yeah?
But the meditation practice is correct.
The meditation practice is correct. The way you do it is correct. Yeah. Just just focus. Keep the attention on the nose. Yeah.
Before I use your method, last time I also tried to focus, but I got headache, heavy headache.
Yeah,
but
because you force it too much.
Now the headache is gone.
Yeah.
So
of course the headache will go. The moment you relax, the headache is gone. If you force it too much, any kind of meditation, if you try to force it, if you force the breath or if you force your concentration, that's not the point. Where we need force is, pulling the mind back when it is gone out. Back, bring it back to the point. That's where we need force, to bring it back. And sometimes you see it, for yourself. There's a nice thought that you want to think, and the mind is not willing to go back to the breath. And that's where you need the force. But most of you use the force in a very different way, forcing the Buddha or forcing the breath. And that's where you get all sorts of, very unpleasant experiences. And you notice instantly, when there's headache or when there's other things, something is wrong with your meditation.
And then another thing I want to report is, I find that sometimes if I use wood though with the breath,
Yeah.
like breathe in wood, breathe out though,
Yeah.
it is also very quick, to reach
Yes.
Upasammadhi.
Yes.
It's,
But, in Upachara Samadhi, or before you reach Upachara Samadhi, you either take the Buddha or the breath. Yeah? I mean, it is only in the beginning where it is very helpful. It is easy to concentrate.
I mean, like a few minutes of
Yeah.
wood and though, then
Yeah.
drop the wood and
Yeah.
or just stick to
Yeah.
breath.
Okay.
And
Yeah. These are crutches, yeah? But the crutches help us to walk.
Well, I found that this is the different from the meditation I have done before. See? And,
For most people it is different. Huh?
and then I don't see any nibbida now. No more color, no more this.
That's good.
Just
Yeah. Just a blank mind.
no thought and then
Good. No, that is the right way to practice.
so now I can do a little bit of investigation.
Yeah, as I said, yeah. I mean, once you be able, normally I say, once you're able to concentrate on the same object for 10 minutes without deviating from this object, I mean, then you can start investigation. But don't do too much. Yeah?
Yeah.
1 hour, 2 hours, yeah. Because you need, you still need to train the samatha. Yeah? Samatha is something we need. We need this calmness, we need that sharp mind. Yeah? Because when you start to do investigation, the mind becomes, just like when you use a sharp knife, if you use it too much, it gets blunt. Yeah?
Yeah.
And it gets blunt very easily, when we do investigation.
Yeah.
If our mind is not really sharp, and we do investigation, it becomes really blunt. Yeah? And then we don't want to do samatha. And then we want to think about the things instead of investigating. And that's where it goes wrong. So I don't do too much, yeah. An hour at the beginning, yeah. And when your samatha becomes stronger, 2 hours. Okay?
But if you say we practice 10 hours a day or 8 hours a day, so most of the time will be samatha.
Yeah. And just 1 hour, if you practice 10 hours a day, 1 hour or 2 hours of investigation, because you shouldn't forget your reflection. That is also part of investigation. Reflection of what happened during the day is always, for forever. Whoever does meditation, it is necessary.
And then another question I want to ask you, right from day one until now. So,
What?
the same question I want to ask you again. First time I met you, I asked you how to separate the mind from the body. Because you said, according to what you taught, if a person wants to enter the stream, he must be able to separate the mind from the body.
Yes.
So when we in our meditation, when we reach the stage of Upachara Samadhi, and then when we get deeper, and then we don't feel the body anymore and all this.
Yeah.
So is that considered separation of
No.
the mind and the body?
No.
Not yet.
No.
That is not.
If Linda can tell you all the talks where I talk about how to do the separation of the body.
I remember you said, look at this body and then chop it into different parts.
That's right, and put them out in front of you, until there's no more part there.
Yeah.
And then look at the body parts, and, and ask, what body part is now the body. Yeah? And then assemble it properly or assemble it not properly and look at the results.
And then until the mind
until something separates, You have to do, maybe you have to do the exercise, 10,000 times or maybe 1,000,000 times until it really clicks.
Yeah. So that means
He heard it so often, now he's still asking.
So the so-called knower, this a person he knows that he's sitting down, he knows that he's doing this, that is sati.
Yes.
but it's not.
Has nothing to do with the separation of the body.
Yeah. Because separation is only done through
Investigation.
observation. Observe until there is no preference, no I, no nothing. Just observe.
That is your imagination. Don't fool yourself. Don't mix up the results, with your practice.
Yeah.
The practice is just to put out things, until there's no body part anymore sitting here and everything is in front of you.
Yeah. So that would be the investigation I should do after my...
Yes. But first start the investigation with simple things like, birth, puberty, sickness, old age, death. We have to go through this cycle, that gives you some motivation, We have to find investigation that gives us some motivation, How often do I want to die, How often do I want to be born, You've born already 1 million times, 1 billion times, or maybe 1 trillion times, How much more do you want? So if you see the whole cycle that we normally don't see, we only see, the state that we are in at right now, and we don't see, sometimes we remember our youth, and the older we get, the more we remember our youth, and think, oh, it was so nice, and then go back into this youth, go back into this memory and see how terrible it was sometimes, most of the time, Go into poverty, it's disaster. When you look at it now, you were crazy. You were completely mad. All these sensations that happened within the body, really drove you nuts. And not only for 1 or 2 years, for 20, 30 years. And see, how this driving force is somebody, how is that dukkha? You have to see that this life is dukkha. It's the first noble truth. That is the first thing that you stop. Once you get to that, then you can, then you can put the body apart. Don't forget it. You always want to leave out certain things. That's important. You cannot jump, there's just a straight path, whatever is on the path, that is what you have to do.
Okay. So finally, one more. What happened when a person is doing his investigation and he dies?
That's good. When you start, at least at that moment, he is aware.
But
what is going on?
His investigation is not finished yet.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you die in investigation, when you do investigation, or if you die when you do samatha.
Okay.
Because at that moment you are aware of what is going on. And then you can choose. Then you can decide where to go. If the kilesas drag you alone, there's only one path. The path of strongest karma. But if you are aware at the moment of death, you have many roads to go. So which road do you want to go? And this decision is then up to you. Just like now, you can come to this monastery and practice, or you can stay at home, and watch TV.